Starting off, we have the Evolved Mega Knight. Currently, the Mega Knight Evo has one of the highest use rates out of all evolutions in Clash Royale. It has a 14% use rate in ranked mode, which is absurd. He hard counters every beatdown deck and can be a nightmare for control and bridge spam decks too. With 3 Musketeers and Royal Hogs returning to the meta, the Mega Knight is surely going to be popular because he can counter both these cards pretty well. Therefore, the Evolved Mega Knight is going to be an A-tier card this season. The Royal Hogs Evolution is the new evolution for this month, and just like every other new Evo, it's absolutely broken. The piggies can fly, meaning you can't counter them with your usual counters like the Valkyrie and the Mega Knight. You will have to wait for them to drop to the ground and then use your ground troops. They will be all over the meta and will definitely be an S-tier evolution. The PEKKA evolution didn't have a great last season because the pros didn't prefer it over the Battle Ram and Royal Ghost evolution. Bridge spam decks still aren't using it much, and it only has a 3% use rate. The evolved PEKKA is great against tanks, but I doubt it's gonna be decent against the 3 Musketeers and Royal Hogs meta. So I will have to place it in C tier at most for now. The Goblin Barrel evolution had a great last season. There were many new logbait decks, and the archetype dominated ladder. It had a 7% use rate last season, although this might be a bad month for logbait because it generally doesn't perform that well against 3 Musketeers and piggies. Therefore, the evolved Goblin Barrel will only remain in the B tier for this season. The Executioner Evolution is the strongest defensive troop in the game, in my opinion. He destroys beatdown, he survives big spells, and is a big threat even on offense. Although he is used with only bridge spam decks, the Executioner use rates might skyrocket this month. He'll be a good counter to those flying piggies, so I think he belongs to the A tier this month. Next up, we have the Evolved Wizard, and honestly, it's terrible. The normal wizard is already a weak card, so when you play the evolved version, you usually end up wasting elixir and losing value. There are pretty much no meta decks that use it consistently. It just doesn't work at all. Because of that, the evolved wizard is going straight into D tier. The Cannon Evolution currently has a 7% use rate in Clash Royale. Despite the latest nerf, it's still pretty strong. It's still the best defensive building in Clash Royale. I think because of its barrage damage, it'll be a great counter to the Hogs. So the Cannon Evolution will remain an S-tier Evo in Clash Royale. Next up, we have the Evolved Zap. The Zap took a hit last season because it wasn't doing well against the Evolved Skeleton army. It only had a 4% use rate, which is quite bad for a small spell. I don't think this season will be any better for the Evolved Zap. Therefore, I don't think the meta is gonna suit it, and it moves down to the C tier. Next up, we have the Firecracker Evolution. Mainly used with Hog EQ, she has a 12% use rate amongst casuals. I think she can be a decent card in this meta because of how hard she can be to kill. 3 Musketeers and Royal Hogs decks don't really run arrows, so the Firecracker can be a good choice to have in your deck this month. Therefore, the Evolved Firecracker will move up to B tier this month. The Barbarians Evolution is horrible. For 5 elixir, you get 5 weak troops, which die to poison and fireball, although they might be used with 3 Musketeers this season to bait out those big spells. So I think I'll move them up to the C tier this month. Moving on, we have the Dart Goblin Evolution. It's decent. Definitely not the worst, but no longer overpowered as it was once before. It currently has a 4% use rate with a 48% win rate, which is okay, I guess. It can be good against the Royal Hogs, but we'll have to wait for the meta to evolve. For now, I'm moving the Dart Goblin Evolution to low B tier in November. The Tesla Evolution is actually gonna be in the meta this month, despite receiving no balance changes. The reason for that is that its pulse damage can counter the evolved Royal Hogs completely and bring them to the ground instantly. Therefore, I think it'll be one of the top tier evolutions this month. The evolved Tesla will find itself moving up to the A tier this month. The evolved skeletons are really bad right now. They are only used in 2 decks, Minor Poison and Minor Balloon, but those decks don't have any other evos to use, so they're kind of forced to use the evo Skellies. In reality, they suck and belong at the bottom of the C tier. The Snowball Evolution is definitely definitely going to be in the meta this season. The best deck that will use the evolved Snowball is Goblin Drill. It basically guarantees damage almost every time when synergized with Drill. With the Drill getting a buff, you can be rest assured that the Snowball is gonna see a rise in use rates. So the Snowball Evo will be placed in high B tier this month. Next up, we have the evolved Mortar. I've said this many times and I will still say it. The evolved Mortar is super underrated. It has a great 52% win rate, but only a 4% use rate. More people need to use it because I think this meta will be great for Mortar. The evolution feels pretty balanced and there won't be any nerfs in the future. I think I will put it in the high B tier for now. The evolved Royal Ghost was broken last month. Despite him getting a nerf this season, I think he will still be broken, especially because he will synergize well with the 3 Musketeers. Therefore, he will still be an S tier card this month. Next up, we have the new Skeleton Army Evolution. It was broken on release, but it seems like players are starting to adapt. It seems easier to counter now, but still it remains a force to be reckoned with. Overall, I think it's going to be strong in this meta and therefore deserves A tier. The evolved Goblin Cage has the highest win percentage out of all evolutions. It has a godly 55% win rate. With recruits spam strong in this meta, the Goblin Cage will be a major asset in those decks. Therefore, I think its use rates will skyrocket and it will be a B tier card. Next up, we have the Battle Ram Evolution. Bridge spam is going to be extremely dominant this month because it's the best win condition you can pair with the 3 Musketeers. The Battle Ram also seems to be doing great against the Swarms meta and therefore moves up to the high B tier this month. The Bomber Evolution is just terrible. No decks use him and he has a nearly 0% use rate. It's 100% going straight away in the D tier. The Goblin Drill Evolution is finally getting a buff it deserved for so long. The buff will definitely make the Goblin Drill Evolution extremely strong. 2 goblins spawned on first submerge will make it harder to defend against the Drill. Therefore, for the first time in almost a year, the Drill moves to high B tier, but it actually might be even higher as the meta evolves. The Bats Evolution is currently one of the worst evos in Clash Royale. With so many splash cards and small spells in the meta, the Bats Evolution are extremely easy to counter. This meta won't be any good for them either, and they will move down to the C tier. Next, we have the Royal Recruits Evolution. It's the most brain-dead card in Clash Royale without any doubt. It has a high 53% win rate with a good 6% use rate. Recruits decks are extremely no-skill and therefore they are always viable. In this meta, we may see some extremely toxic decks featuring both the Recruits and 3 Musketeers. The Royal Recruits Evolution is going in the A tier because of how annoying and no-skill they are. Up next is the Skeleton Barrel Evolution. This thing is super annoying to defend, especially when it's used in Mortar or minor decks. Even if your opponent stops the barrel, the death damage alone can still chip away at their tower and give you value. It can struggle against decks with strong defenses, but overall it's really solid. Because of all that, I'm putting the evolved Skeleton Barrel in B tier for this season. The Royal Giant Evolution is extremely strong right now. In fact, the best deck of last season featured the evolved Royal Giant. Royal Giant decks usually take high skill, and in order to win you will need to outplay your opponent. The Royal Giant Evolution moves up to the A tier because I think it'll be even better this season since the archetype counters 3 Musketeers. Next up is the Knight Evolution. I feel like it always gets outshined by the Valkyrie Evolution, especially in graveyard decks where players chose her instead. The Knight's use rate has dropped to around 6%, which shows he's not as popular as he was before. He's still a good evolution, just not S tier anymore. I think he'll be good with 3 Musketeers though, as well as good against them. So I'm placing him in high B tier for this season. Now let's talk about the Hunter Evolution. It might make a comeback this season because it pairs well with 3 Musketeers, but I doubt it'll be used in any other decks, especially Royal Giant, in which it was a key asset before. For now, I'm placing it in C tier. Next up is the Witch Evolution. Despite a recent nerf, the evolved Witch was extremely dominant in the previous meta. Graveyard Royal Giant, Giant, and a lot of orthodox off-meta decks were using the witch. I think she will remain strong this month too. She has a great 9% use rate, so I'm moving her high up in the A tier. Next, we have the Furnace Evolution. I think it's almost balanced after a series of nerfs. Now it has a 4% use rate and a 51% win rate, which are okay stats for a support evolution. It's not as crazy as it was 2 months ago, but it's still a solid pick, and I expect a lot of decks to keep using it. Because of that, I'm placing the Furnace Evolution in the high B tier this season. The Wallbreakers Evolution is one of the strongest evolutions in Clash Royale. Despite so many complaints from the pros recently, they're still avoiding a nerf. I think they'll be even more annoying this season because they pair well with 3 Musketeers. They really belong in the S tier because you can never get a positive elixir trade against them. Next is the Evolved Musketeer, and she's one of the few evolutions nobody complains about. Supercell actually did a great job balancing her, and she's still really fun to play. You'll mostly see her in minor balloon and giant graveyard decks. She's great for prediction plays that can turn a match around in seconds. As usual, I'm putting the Evolved Musketeer in high B tier this season. Next up is the Archers Evolution. They're only used in one deck, and that's Expo. Arrows are always super popular every season, and therefore Archers are gonna have a tough time. So for now, I'm putting the Archers Evolution in C tier. Now let's talk about the Goblin Giant Evolution. It got a big nerf 2 months ago, and honestly, it was well deserved. Its reign of terror is finally over, and I'm not complaining. With only a 1% use rate in top 1000 last season, the Goblin Giant was one of the worst evos last season. This season is gonna be even worse, and therefore the Goblin Giant Evolution drops down to D tier. The Evolved Ice Spirit is no longer viable after so many nerfs. Despite being a cycle card, it only has a 2% use rate and a horrible 46% win rate. While some decks may still use it, I doubt it's going to be of any use in this spam meta. Therefore, the Ice Spirit Evolution moves down to the C tier. Next up is the Valkyrie Evolution, and she's probably the best evolution in the entire game right now. Her defense is insane, and last season she had an unbelievable use rate of 16%. She'll be a great asset to deal against the 3 Musketeers and Royal Hogs, so I expect her to keep dominating the meta. The Evolved Valkyrie is worthy of being an S tier evolution. The Evolved Electro Dragon has been a game changer for Golem decks recently. It's a serious threat behind the Golem, and I think it's going to do great against the 3 Musketeers meta. It may suck against cycle decks, but I still will place it in the high B tier this season. Next is the Lumberjack Evolution, sitting at a solid 6% use rate thanks to all the beatdown and bridge spam decks running around. I expect it to continue to do well in this meta too. It pairs well with 3 Musketeers, so it might even see a rise in its use rate. So the Evolved Lumberjack moves up to the A tier this month. The Baby Dragon Evolution was changed to 2 cycles instead of 1 last month. Everyone thought it would be dead, but surprisingly the Evolved Baby Dragon still proved to be useful on defense in various decks. Golem and Lava Loon decks will continue to be relevant in this meta, and Baby Dragon will remain a crucial asset for these decks. With a 6% use rate and a 53% win rate, the Baby Dragon Evolution is a solid B tier card. The Evolved Inferno Dragon is a really good evolution. It's especially a must-have evo for casuals since it can counter annoying tanks like Mega Knight, Golem and PEKKA. Therefore, this makes it an A tier card and one of the 10 pay-to-win evolutions. But what are the other 9 evos that'll make you win in Clash Royale? To find out, click on this video